to manage them ahead of time, not micromanage them. They can go back, they can look, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do that. So instructions every day, and then delivery day. So this means that the window frame came down, I'm holding on to that. There's the tub that we finished and the roof that came from Mr. Eller. There's Archie showing Scotty how to cut 1-inch thick metal, you know, shooting sparks across the room. Community people that came in to help were awesome, you know. And then there's the window frame we're finishing. I mean, this is just big beads, welds, grinding and grinding, because it had to be like it was in the old days. In the old days, it was cast. We had to make it look like it was the old days. So a lot more work. And then window company needed a template for windows. So we came up with, hey, let's put construction paper around, run some soap sewn around, and then send that paper to the window company. There's a whole year's worth of work right there. So that was my crew second period. Still proud of all of them, still stay in touch. I mean, I don't know how much time I have. I mean, I like to brag, like, she's an underwater welder, and this guy's a machinist. Like, you guys all know, whatever you're good at in your class, those kids go out and do in real life, and that's why I'm proud of them. You know, if they never had the chance to have vet science, they wouldn't become a veterinarian, right? They don't know. So that's why, you know, the things that you do and that I do make me proud. So here's one part of like 3D printing and casting that I did through shop, because they had engineering. But we literally did reproduction of the Lanternhouse parts. So you see some of the plants, but we made the door hinges, door handles, vents. So I had the kids draw them out in CAD, and then we 3D printed them. So in one of those original plans, there's the hinge that was on that 1898 plan. We drew it out, 3D printed it, and then that's what we sand casted. So there's the drawing in CAD there, SolidWorks, that one is. And there's another part of the hinge. So now we've got the sand cast kits. And so there's a petroleum-based sand that you pack in. The piece of plastic is in there. We're packing that in a mold. And then there's Matt and Dane doing, this is finishing. So you can see like there's a hole there in that flask. That's where you're going to pour. We did aluminum first, but you'll see the aluminum was the finals. And it was okay. It's not great. There's the door handle literally that you saw at the end. That's up on the lighthouse now. We got brass donated, we searched, we found, we even had community members bring in like a sailboat that was brass. We melted tons of stuff down to do the brass. So there's the dangerous stuff. We got a crucible furnace, super hot. That's full of molten brass, and they're pouring it in the mold. Melting point, super hot. You can see that crucible's overheated, but we had to get it super hot. Pouring that brass in the mold. There's the top there, the petroleum of the sand catches on fire a little bit. Okay, so we pull out the mold, we break the sand away, and there is one part of the hinge that you saw a little bit. It's a little bumpy, but that's as good as we can make it. So now becomes the machining process. Lots of my machining's by hand, so they can learn how, you know, to measure within thousandths of an inch. There's the door handle, and you can see it's bumpy now because that's where the hole was at the top where the funnel was. But they're just finishing it out. There's kind of the finished product, you know, hey, not perfect, but for high school kids, it was good enough, and good enough for the State Historical Society. There's Michaela machining and flattening out the other part of the hinge. They're almost finished, you know, but that's the great thing. I mean, there's applied math also, you know, in shop. Tolerances, you know, decimal equivalents, pride and craftsmanship over and over. There's Jenna turning, like, she's practicing on steel to make the threads for the pin in the hinge. You know, precision measurement, of course, practicing threads. There's the brass pin to turn threads. That's literally what's up there now. Presentations. We went to Skagit Valley College, Edmonds Community College. Like, once you do a big project like this, you get notarized, and you're going, and even to the school board. It legitimizes your program and makes things, you know, pretty good for you, because people will support you when you're doing good things. More trips. There's another trip on the ferry. Okay. So there's the window frame. We're putting it on for the first time. It's all finished. We're going to bolt it together. More teamwork and gluing it together. And then there's the roof. We got the roof with that slit in it. Had to fill it, grind. This is pretty crazy. That's 3-inch pipe that got quartered and reverse bent to do that under arch like it was in the old days. Super hard to do. That's Mr. Eller. He started that, and then grinding, and more grinding. There's that gap all finished on the roof. Grinding, more grinding. And then what I figured is it's got to be watertight. So we put that roof in the shop, we put it on the window frame, we would turn out all the lights, and the kids would just, here's your arc weld kids. They're not the best welders, but they're welding on the inside that you'll never see. They're sealing it up. And then when it was dark in the shop, you know, because when you're welding, they can see in the dark. And the kids were on the outside. And if there was any light shining through the gaps, then the holes were plugged. So we did that. We're pre-fitting it, putting it all together, welding inside the roof, and grinding all those welds off. Archie's back for another day to cut out a spot where I think the door or vent was going to go. Teaching Camlin how to do some things. Inside sheet metal that's up inside there now. Finished work. More progress. Holes drilled and tapped again. And now it's time to put it together. Applied math. So now we're putting in the vents. There's the vent opening cutout. There's Michaela making the vents by hand. You know, 1, 2, 3 turns on a hand. Vertical mill. Oops, there it is. That's a finished vent. And, you know, yeah, the holes aren't perfect, but that's what you do by hand. And that's what, it was probably about as good as they made it in the old days in the 1800s anyway. So here it is. All pieces are together, fitted together for the first time. The door is cut open. And there it is painting what you saw in that last one. So that pretty much where it was. There's that one. Oh, I closed that. So, you know, there's what the Lanternhouse is and it was. Oh, that's when we took off the spire. So there's the last day when it's finished, you know, super quick, but you can see the hinges out painted, the door handle, the tub, everything's painted. The windows are in, and then Mary Margaret Haugen, a senator, came. There's a lot of people on the ground, but, you know, all those kids, they got something to really be proud of, you know, for the rest of their lives and look at. And, you know, it's amazing that what doer and worker kids can really do, you know, and you can see there were so many kids, you know. So that's pretty much it, because I don't even know what time it is. But yeah, just showing kids off.